moves slow, time moves fast. In this dance we call the past. Mental health, a fragile thread, but we'll find strength. Let love spread. Life's a climb, just take a step. Rise above, find your breath. In the darkness we will find a shining light to free our mind, to free our mind. Self-growth blooms like petals bloom, shedding tears will heal the wounds. In the chaos, let's find peace, embrace the pain, let it release.
What's good? What's good? Can you hear me?
What's popping? Yeah, I can hear you clear. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me switch this over to the
All right.
headphone. Boom. Yes, ma'am. Why? Default speakers. All right. All right. It's not gonna let me. That's fine. It is what it is. I can work with that. All right. So with it, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I'll let everybody else jump in when they jump in. I'll let people in according to. But with it, as always, I always start with the introductions. So first, I'll go ahead and say one for me. I'm Donnelly Divine. I have been through a lot in life, and through the life lessons that I have learned, I decided to, you know what, I need to give back to other individuals. I need to give back to others due to the fact that the cycle is going to continue to keep repeating. And I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do. I understand that I'm constantly getting attacked because I speak the truth. And that also let me know that that is what I'm supposed to do. If you want to go into chakras, my throat chakra is extremely strong, and it keeps trying to get blocked by other individuals via lies and a bunch of other things, or either just people trying to silence me. Not necessarily like unalive me, but keep me from talking and speaking the truth. And that also lets me know that's what I'm supposed to be doing, is speaking the truth. And going on with that, that is the main reason I created this platform, to shine light to everybody else, because there's a lot of us that go through the same things, but nobody wants to speak about it. We all have a voice. I just want you all to know that I don't want to say this because there's somebody else who says it, but we all go through this thing called life together. And I mean, sometimes it's effed up, but you don't know that you're never in it alone unless there's other people who speak about it as well. And I'm going to do just that. I'm going to speak about it. Now, with it, I have with me Mr. Impossible, and I'll let him do his introduction.
Bless. Peace and light and prosperity and power to all. My name is Impossible Prince King God. That's what the PKG stands for. And I'm just a seeker, someone who's been dealing in the occult knowledge for over a decade, almost 15 years. I'm a person that understands reality from a place of not being emotional, and to be able to look at history and not be emotional and understand what cycles are really about. So just being a part of this right here, it's always been a pleasure. And of course, I'm going to have you on that my podcast, Talk That Crap. You know what I'm saying? So be looking forward to that coming soon. I'm dropping my first one Tuesday. And so I'm just here to spread that expression of love, that divine light, that dark light love that we all possess. And I'm just here as a beacon, as a signal, this expression, that dark light love.
I like
Also,
that. Like love.
you pick up the ebook. Yeah, dark light love. Yeah, I'm gonna put my ebook in the chat.
All right. So today, we got some topics that I feel do not get spoken about enough, especially in our community.
All right, talk to me.
One, surviving the type of manipulations that come around. A word for it is, a lot of people know it nowadays as narcissists, which none of us are licensed to be able to diagnose anybody, but we can recognize behaviors. So the biggest thing I kind of want to talk about is not so much of what a narcissist is, but how to avoid a victim's mentality. Now, when it comes down to being a victim, what do you feel like a victim's mentality is?
Taught oppression.
Taught oppression.
Mm-hmm.
Elaborate a little
That's
more.
Well, you have to be taught to be a victim, and you're a victim by those who have oppressed you. So the mentality that we have is based upon those who actually placed us, quote unquote, in that victim mentality. So to describe a victim mentality, what first has understanding is that's the mind state of the oppressor, because you're speaking from a point of being a victim. Now, definitely things can happen in your life and you can be a victim, but you don't have to keep the mentality. So the mentality is a state of consciousness, a frequency of being. So when you have a particular frequency of being a victim, and that's the mentality, which means that's the energy that you project from. So your perspective, what you call reality, comes from a mental state of a victim. And who gave you the definition of being a victim? The oppressor.
So with the victim, do you feel like that has something to do with your personal reality?
Yes and no. Because yes, we have been, through history, we have been victims of oppression, conquer, colonization, integration. All of these things have happened. So yeah, we have went through moments of being a victim, but you don't have to stay that.
I know for me personally, I've been through quite a few things in life. The most recent things I'm still trying to heal from, things that have happened in my past. I've kind of learned how to, I don't want to necessarily avoid, but kind of deflect the triggers. I'll recognize the triggers and I'll remove myself from it. It's not so much to avoid, but it's more along the lines of, I know what can happen if I stay in that environment. Would you consider that a victim mentality, or would you consider that as in taking steps, taking power over that?
I'll consider them to be both, because
Okay.
you are at a state where you're allowing, again, the definition of the victim and how you're moving from a state of being a victim. You're not moving from a state as a victor. You're the victory. You're already won. You're already the divine. So to be at a place of being a victim, like who's giving you the ideas and the beliefs and the definition of a victim? Who's giving you the imagery of that?
Now
On the
with it,
other side, go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead, go ahead. On the other side.
On the other side, we have to understand too that when you operating from a state of divinity, then there's no victim there. You are already whole. So to be a victim, you're only looking at a part or a perspective of in totality of who you are, and you're basing that based upon your limitations. So here it is. If you're speaking from a victim mentality, you're speaking from a vibration, a feeling, an emotion of being less and victimized. Now, where do you get those imageries from? So when you have an imagery of divinity, of love and power and prosperity, you don't have the imagery of being a victim. Like where they went. It's all about what you do with your mind. They say that all is mind. The universe is mental. So to have a mentality of a victim, it just, allows you to be right there with the oppressor who created the victim for you. He created it for you. That's why they gave you history to create a victim mentality.
Facts on facts. With it, with me, I have a situation that still haunts me to this day, and sometimes I wonder if just me telling the story of what had happened, if that puts me in the role of a victim mentality.
As long as you transmuted the energy, me speaking about past situations and things that I did or overcome in the past, it doesn't place me in the same mental state that I was when I was going through. Because I'm not the same individual I was a decade ago, 5 years ago. So you can always reflect upon wherever you experience and gain the knowledge from. You don't have to have the same mentality. Again, when we use these words mentalities and we using these words victims, we using these words perspective, we got to understand they're only limitations. Because in your being, you're not a victim or you don't need anything. Men if there's a mentality for you to have, it should be that of being a god or goddess. It should be that of you being divine, love, power, harmony, prosperity. If you're going to
I,
have a mentality, be that. You know what I'm saying? Perform the
yeah,
alchemy itself. So when you perform the alchemy with the internal, yo, you're not going to you can never be a victim again. Never.
and I love
I've
the
thought
fact
about, go ahead.
that you stated that, because literally last night as I was doing some work on myself,
Hmm.
I already showed my wife this, and with you saying this, I'm just like, dang, yo, in divine time. I realized that just like how you said, that victim mentality was kind of put in me way before. So ultimately, when these situations happened, it kind of just arose what the underlining of, not the underlining effects, the underlining causes that made me feel this way ultimately. Now
Yeah.
with the most recent situations, I look at it and I was like, you know what? As much as I hate these individuals, I'm thankful for what had happened due to the fact that it allowed me to really grasp the things that I need to work on with myself. It allowed a lot of positive things to come out of it. And with those positive things, it grew my relationship. It showed me that the relationship that I have is not as messed up as I thought it was at that time. It showed me that there's people who are a lot worse than us. It showed me
Sure.
that there are individuals who hate themselves so much that they want to bring pain to others, that they will do
Mhm.
anything to make themselves feel better by trying to destroy others' lives. It showed me that
Mm.
I had a weak mental at the time, and I was seeking validation from other individuals by how easy these people were able to manipulate my reality,
Mm.
even though I knew what was happening and was wrong. But because of the fact that nobody else said anything, I took it as in I must be messed up. So now I start questioning my morals and values and my beliefs. And that right there, later on, going through myself, I realized I was like, I was not in the right headspace. And then as I grew as I got stronger with myself and really believing in myself and knowing that I know the difference between right and wrong, I'm able to stand firm 10 toes down on what I believe in, set those boundaries.
Okay.
I know that if something like this were to happen again, I can handle it differently because I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. And now I know how to navigate it in the proper way. So I feel like that right there took me out that victim mentality. Now, the hardest part is when it comes to those you love, it's hard not to feel that emotion when you think of it, especially with how fucked up the situation can be, you know? I cannot completely detach emotions from what has happened, but I know that I know that I can speak about it without wishing ill on them, but yet wish everything that they deserve, that they live the life that they deserve. And I mean, the worst thing that can happen to them is for them to meet someone just like them in another person.
For me personally, I tend to not allow my. I tend to not allow my energy to be directed towards anyone. I only direct my attention inward. I want to piggyback on what you was talking about earlier when you was talking about triggers. It left me, but it just came back. They use triggers for us to react. What happens when you use triggers for your own divine purpose? So that's what I did. I took the triggers at one time that was to my dysfunction, and I took those same triggers and it took me into enlightenment. How about that?
That's ooh, you are so much better than me. I can admit that, Ref. The triggers took you to enlightenment.
Yeah.
Give me an example so I can figure out how I can do that. Because for me, when the triggers come, I try to remove myself from I recognize what my triggers are. So I try to remove myself from that to not allow myself to get to that point. Because the way that I grew up, it was act first, think later. And that's
there you go.
That used to bother me. That's something I realize is really bad. And so when I recognize, okay, this, and this, if this happens, this can happen, or this can happen. I'm only controlling this, which means it could be these. Okay, bet. Let me dip. That's how I go.
Right. So your analytical mind allows you to see multiple potentials at one time. So when you're dealing with triggers, you're seeing it from multiple angles. When I deal from triggers, I deal with the core. What it originated from. Why is it there? And why do I lean on it? Why when it happens, it's an automatic effect to me, mentally and emotionally. Once I understood, okay, let's just say I was in a relationship at one time with this young lady, and she would do things to piss me off. And she did something one day and she pissed me off and she smiled. I say, damn, she doing that shit knowing she pushing my motherfucking buttons. So I had to take that moment and transmute it and change it and allow that when she did that to empower me, to take my power back. So a lot of times, again, but we're talking about using mental alchemy. We're talking about understanding detachment. Deepak Chopra has a great book out called The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. I think it is. The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. I think that's the name of the book. And he has a whole chapter in there about detachment. And in that chapter, he's talking about using your worst tormentor as a mentor, as a teacher. So I allowed any quote unquote bad thing, people want to do me wrong, blah, 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 whatever the hell that means. I allowed them to be my teacher. So I would use whatever triggered me as a way to teach me. And that's how I came out of the triggers. So that's how I got from triggers to breathing, learning how to breathe.
You said learn how to breathe. Breathing.
Yeah.
Breathing, that changes. You can change so much by
Yeah.
just learning how to breathe. And I mean, that's
That's good.
something that I
Yes,
had
brother.
learned. Yeah, that's, for example, when I was like in anger management back when I was in the Marine Corps, they taught us, I think it's the 8-7-4 method. And I
Uh-huh.
was like,
I don't.
that right there, that clears your head almost instantly. Like once you do that,
Hmm.
like boy, how you doing,
Oh yeah.
Mississippi?
It's a
Blessings,
wonderful day in
blessings,
the
Queen.
neighborhood.
You said a lovely day in the neighborhood.
Lovely day in the neighborhood.
Hey, that's what I'm
Right
talking
now,
about.
we're talking about how do you avoid a victim's mentality,
Oh, don't be the victim.
Yeah.
and
Shit.
and that's
It's just
the
that
thing. You
simple.
were like, what is a
I
victim?
mean, stuff happens, okay? But the only thing that makes you a victim is you. You make you a
Check.
victim. It's just that simple. Now, if you want to stay in that, then that's on you. You can't blame anybody else for you being a victim because you turned yourself into the victim. The circumstance didn't turn you into a victim, you did.
But what is a victim?
A person that is altered irreparably by a circumstance.
Okay, shit. Man, y'all these this vast vocabulary. I love it. I'm like, luckily I know what that word is because I'm not gonna lie. There's been a couple times where you said some shit. I'm like, hold up, write that down, look that up later. But
Don't
yeah,
be like, somebody that come back with a whole dictionary about what he said.
Yeah,
hey,
well,
don't get mad at me next time you see me. I'm over here reading the thesaurus, trying to figure out some synonyms and stuff. Okay, but nah,
throw
No,
some on my fingers.
that is the highlight of my existence. You can do what you want to do. You can say what you want to say. That's
Mhm.
not going to be what's going to affect me. That's not going to change my stance on things. That's not going to change how I feel with regards to you or anybody else in the situation. If you do something grimy, you is grimy.
That's
And
it.
that
I'm not grimy. You are. Now,
that
what I
is
do with you or around you, thus after that, again, if you want to stick around in a grimy situation, you made you a victim of a grimy situation, not the grimy
Check.
person.
facts. And with that, that's pretty much what I was just saying to him. Impossible. I was like, look, I'm finally had reached a point where I realized I was like, you know what, the things that have been done, I was like, that is not a reflection of my character. I was like, that is a reflection of them, because a lot of times it's often projection. And with that,
Exactly.
if you know what you did, if I know what I did was right, but I'm being told that I was wrong, I'm like, okay, cool. I need to stand firm with who I am, my beliefs and everything. Because when people do wrong, they know that they've done wrong. When people do wrong, they know that they've done wrong. And if you're doing right, you know that you're doing right. I mean, there may be some people who have like sociopathic tendencies or psychopathic tendencies to where they may think that they're actually doing something right when they're doing something wrong. I don't know how their mindset, their mind frame is, but I have read about that before, to where they don't realize they're doing anything wrong.
Well,
That's
it
just their
also says, don't
mentality.
let your
Yeah.
good be evilly spoken of.
Yeah. You talking about too, that's their mentality though. So when they're walking about, that's their beliefs, that's their ideas, that's their principles, that's how they see themselves functioning, what we call life, is to be that grimy person, is to be that particular type of person. That's just who they are.
I feel like we have talked about this long enough, because we are out of a victim's mentality. When it comes down to it, people can say what they want to
Being
say.
out. Yeah,
Yeah,
being out of there.
yeah, people can say what they want to say. We know the truth. I'm like, when it comes down to it, there's always three sides to a story: your side, their side, and the truth. I'm like, so you can
That's
believe
it.
what you want to believe. Ultimately, if you believe what is not the truth or what is being told to you, that tells me where you stand in my life. So that just lets me know what I need to do and how I need to move from there
Well, see,
on.
the people that lie are their own bondage. The truth shall set you free. So as long as you're living in truth, you're the free one. Now, if they want to
That's it.
continue on with fallacies and untruths and portrayals of whatever they want to put out there, their own little soap opera, that's their bondage, not mine.
Right.
So if you want to put a narrative out there, you putting your own shackles and chains on.
Check.
Now, moving on to some happier things. Let's talk about the future. Let's talk about proper planning. How do you
Talk
plan
about
for
it.
the future, and how far ahead should you plan for?
That's a loaded question for me.
Well, we've got time. Speak your mind.
Speak your mind.
Well, so given my current health situations, not even supposed to be here now. So I'm grateful for every day. Every day is a great day on this side of the flower. On this side of the flowers. Roots is cool. You got to have roots, but I'd much rather see the flowers. So I'm past the point right now of planning future for myself. I'm planning future for all of those that are behind me at this point. It's about longevity. It's about legacy. It's about businesses. It's about something that's going to provide a lifestyle that would be conducive to, or the same one that I would have provided if I was there, if I'm not there. It's about building something that is lasting, something that is meaningful, something that has I don't know, something that has something that's a piece of you that it basically will live forever.
All right. And if let's go ahead and say that you do not have the health issues that you have. How far ahead do you feel that you should plan?
Well, my grandkids can go to college if they choose to or not to. We're in the planning right now of opening business within the next year or so they don't have to worry about their first high school job. They don't have to worry about sports fees, whatever that looks like, whether it's lacrosse, soccer, football, whether it's
Boxing.
boxing, MMA, Muay Thai. Lord knows, between their auntie and their parents, they've got a plethora of things that they could possibly get into. But none of that is, their world is officially opened. The world is now their oyster. They don't have to wait for pearls. They already got strands of pearls, on demand pearls. My focus now is preparing them to be able to function out of desire, want, and goals versus out of necessity. My goal is for them to not have a necessity mind frame. It's not about paycheck to paycheck, because that paycheck and everything that you need is already there. You don't have to worry about where you're going to live. You don't have to worry about what you're going to eat. You don't have to worry about any of those things. All you have to do is figure out what you want to do, what your goal is, and go from there. And for them to be the ages that they are now, it's interesting to hear the things that they want to do and the things that they like. My youngest daughter, for her whole life, has wanted to be either a firefighter or a police officer. Her whole entire life. She is now over 25, and now she is a police officer wanting to do something else. But she has put herself in a position to where she can get paid to get trained to, or get the degree to do something else. So again, those are things that you prepare them for early on. So it's not a matter of guessing how I'm getting where I'm getting. I know how to get where I'm going, wherever it is I decide to go. I just need to execute that part of the plan. And these are plans that were put forth, I don't know, they were like 10, 12. So, I mean, they had options. There are different paths to get to where you want to go. Where are the places that you want to go? Let's get you there. So, I don't know. That means it's about 12 to 15 years in advance that we're planning.
Okay. Now, with it, I know in a previous episode, Impossible had mentioned he had watched something with Billy Carson, and Billy Carson was talking about how they plan for businesses where they want to be in the business like 200 years in advance. Impossible. You want to touch a little more on that?
Yeah. Us as families, we should always be at I think a 10, 20, and 30 year minimum and a 50 and 60 year collective. And we just forgotten about how to do that. You should be able to, for me, I got a 5, 10, and 20. The 10 and 15 is where you kind of go in and kind of make your little adjustments. You seeing what's happening in the market for the next 5 years. You looking at your business. You're looking at where you can scale. You're looking at your grandkids and saying, hey, what do you want to create? You're looking at your daughters and saying, hey, all right, we got this aspect of business locked down. How can we scale this part of the business to do this? Because we want to present this in the family. Da, 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 da. So we should always be a point of being innovators and allowing whatever talents that our children have, allow to pour into them, to allow them to flourish. And then take that next 10 years as an innovator as a child, because they're going to be able to see things and understand things way quicker and faster than we were. So they can take the same plan now, and now you compound, and the whole time you still got compound interest. And that's something that, in the financial literacy world, us as Black people, we don't really talk about. But that's how the wealth is really wealthy, because they have funds allocated 10, 15, 20 years, and it's just compounding interest. It's just making money hand over fist. And that's something that we don't do.
Yeah.
So it should
definitely.
minimum 10, 20 years max. You should be at least a good 60, 70 years of when. And I'm not at 70 years yet, so I got work to do. Like I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm at about 20 years right now for myself and my family, because I can scale it and say, okay, my oldest granddaughter, she'll be 24 in 10 years. All right, 10 years, my grandson, he'll be 12. My other grandson, you know what I'm saying? So I'm scaling, I'm looking at what can be compound interest in 10 years, 5 years. Let's make an adjustment. What's happening in the market? Do I need to go more health? Do I need to go more energy? What do I need to go towards? Are my dividends set the way I want them to be set? So to have that understanding of it and plotting out, yeah, I'm with Miss Sigma Uno. I don't want my kids and grandkids to have to go through I don't want them to go to no job. My grandkids will never work a fucking job. They can work a business. I'll fund a business all day, but they'll never work a damn job. I'm the last job nigga. I'm it. Ain't no more after this.
I like that. I feel like that's one thing that a lot of melanated individuals or people in general should talk about, because I feel like that's something that a lot of people who are not us probably discuss in their households. But when it comes down to us, we don't talk about those LLCs and corporations, and a lot of times it's not really even communication in general. It's more along the lines of, hey, when you're young, they ask you, what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? And they don't really give you any guidance of really how to get there. And then it's like when you're in high school and everything, they're like, okay, what do you want to do in college? And it's like you keep getting kind of pushed to college. And I'm like, a lot of people who have these are actually millionaires, billionaires. A lot of them didn't even go to college, honestly.
Didn't step foot in it.
Nope.
It's like they knew what they needed to do before they end up getting out of school.
It's family legacy.
It's
legacy. They didn't go to work a job. They went to work at the business that their parents owned. They're recycling their own money, just like we discussed before. We've been in calls before where they're discussing how Nike and Adidas and all these major corporations make it through pandemics and things like that, borrowing from themselves because they've invested in themselves to a matter in which they can loan from themselves and not have to pay themselves back and stay through a pandemic that's 5 years, that's a recession that lasts 8 years. It's set up that way. There are things out there that facilitate that happening, It's just that people of our persuasion, for whatever reason, can't, they don't stick to it long enough. They are more
Fear.
of they want to see things right now, that instantaneous reward, that microwave,
Yep.
that I
Yep.
want it now. That's not how this works. That's not how legacy is built. It's not how legacy is formed. You can
Check.
try to form one that way, but it's definitely not a guarantee. But if you put that time in it, you put that thought, that education, that knowledge, the your dividend, just, it's a lot of pieces. And when it comes to things with a lot of pieces, for whatever reason, I have noticed we always have screws left. Everything has a purpose. Everything has directions. Every screw has to be where it needs to be in order for things to be what it needs to be 15, 20 years down the line. Now, you built this shelf, you got a handful of extra screws. How stable is that shelf going to be in 20 years? Yeah,
Check.
it was great. You got it together in 5 minutes and you used it for what you need to use it for, but can you move that shelf? Can that shelf go where you go?
Right.
I mean,
Right. That's
Like,
real, real,
I'm a
real
little
shit.
upset that you said that. Like,
Yeah.
I was just telling the wife, I was like, damn, like this desk that I built, I got 2 extra screws, literally. But I'm like, I feel like those 2 extra screws is extra screws, literally extra screws, because I don't see anywhere else those screws
Hey,
supposed to go. Okay,
hey,
but then at the
listen.
same time, the dresser that I
Miss
built, there's
Sigma
like
Uno
3
done
extra
told
screws,
you.
but I swear it's like 1 extra screw of each screw that came with it. So I feel like that was a shot at me, even though you probably didn't know. But okay,
I didn't know.
Oh,
But my
shit.
thing is when I'm putting something together, I
It's
look at the
called,
instruction. It tells me
this
that
is,
there's this many screws. If I'm looking at this bag of screws and there is this many screws in there, great. If there's extra screws in there when I start, then great. Those are extra screws.
that's what I'm saying. There was extra screws
But
in there
did
when
you
I
even
started.
read the
And I
directions?
counted
You
how
didn't
many
read the
screws I
directions. You just
needed.
put that bad boy together.
I followed the
That's all you
instructions.
did.
It's like, yo, you need 3 screws for this step to put them with X, Y. You need 2 screws for this step to make A. So when I got done, I was like,
I think you winging it, man. I think you winging it, man.
you know,
I
forget
think
you,
you
bro.
winging
Forget you. I did not wing it. I had my son with me when I built the dresser. My son and daughter
Oh,
were with me
don't
when I
bring,
built the
don't
desk.
bring the little
See,
prince in here.
don't bring the
Don't
baby
throw
in
him
here.
out of there. Don't throw him in.
Look, the reason I brought them up is because we used the instructions. We followed the
Oh,
pictures. And I
okay.
had them. I was like, okay. I had him pick out the screws. I had her work on her ABCs. I was like, hey, we need go grab A, go grab B. So that's how we did it.
Okay.
I followed the
All right.
instructions. So I'm like, look,
Uh,
what was left? Okay, with my daughter, the ABCs part could have been messed up, but I double checked it. All right.
Oh, so
Now I
it's
feel,
okay though.
I feel
Yeah.
that the children are being thrown under the bus at this point.
That okay.
No,
You with me,
no,
Mr. Uno?
When it
They
You
comes
with
to
me?
building a legacy,
You
it
with
is not
me?
your
Yeah.
children that build your legacy. It is you that build the legacy for your
Yeah.
children. And in theory, it's you that's supposed to be building your legacy for your grandchildren, not your children.
Mhm.
It's my job to
Exactly.
build the legacy for my grandchildren,
hmm
Okay.
right?
And I
So,
agree with that.
We were building the desk for me.
so for you, that desk is temporary. I understand. It ain't got to go no place else. It ain't got to
Yeah,
move.
yeah. The
It ain't
way
got to hold
the
nothing
puppy is
heavy.
fucking it up, it's not. It's temporary. Oh, but hey, moving on. Let's talk about, y'all familiar with SMART goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about SMART
break
goals.
down SMART goals for me. What is that?
SMART goals, they are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna throw something up on the screen real quick.
Okay, yeah, do that.
See it?
Yep. I see
On the
it. I
podcast.
saw the light.
Okay.
So with you got S, which is specific. You need to be specific with your goals. Make goals clear and specific. The M stands for measurable. You need to define measurable assets. The A stands for attainable. Confirm your goals are attainable. You don't want to make something that is unrealistic, you know? I'm like, make sure that they are relevant to what it is that you're trying to do. Confirm your goals are verify your goals are relevant. So, I mean, if you're trying to create a restaurant and one of your goals in there is set up a roller coaster, the hell does the roller coaster have to do with the restaurant? You know, I'm like, and then make sure that it's time based. Set up a time based plan, because if you say, hey, this restaurant needs to be up and running by the end of the year, that's not really time based. You want to make sure that you say, like, all right, October 15th is going to be our opening date, something like that, you know? So, I mean, when it comes down to it, I learned about SMART goals in the Marine Corps, and it was actually when I picked up Sergeant, and it helped a lot. It helped a lot. I'm not going to lie. I had moved away from it, but then it got reintroduced to me again when I was doing sales, when I became an executive assistant. With that, it really helped when I was working with a team to make sure, okay, we need to be making this many sales. We need to make sure that we get 7 sales by Friday. And with that, the revenue we need to be pulling in is this and this to actually be able to reach this bonus. Now, with it, I love how you were talking Impossible earlier about the 5, 10, or the 5, 15, and 20 goals. I was like, started off with a 10-year goal, a 20-year goal, and a 30-year goal. And with that, that's what I was doing for Muay Thai until I ended up having surgery. I was like, okay, well, that kind of puts me back a little bit. But having timestamps on it to be able to check up on, to make sure you're on track with your end goal. I'm like, and for example, one of the things I do is every year on my birthday, I don't do anything. I take my birthday off every year because I try and sit down and meditate, try and clear my head and make sure that the things go over everything last year to make sure I'm on track of where I'm trying to go for the next year. Now, last couple years have been whirlwind for me, really knocked me off track, and I had to really get my headspace back into where I needed to be in order to continue doing what I need to do. But with it, I love the fact that we're doing this episode because it's reminding me of what I need to do. This is right here. I'm kind of using y'all as an accountability buddy and to really get me back to what I'm doing. But these are what SMART goals are. And I mean, if you want, I can send it to you. That way you have it. Again, they're specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound.
Well, I'm a little radical. So sometimes me and Smart may not get along because some of my shit be way unmeasurable. You know what I'm saying? If you had to logically look at that shit, you'd be like, I'm not that. I don't got no type of time. What the fuck is he talking about? So some of it.
You do. If you really think about it, you do. Because in order to get to that unmeasurable, there's some points in between where you are and unmeasurable that you can measure and you can attain in a timely manner. You know what you want to do is unmeasurable, but there are points that you can get to.
Oh, definitely. I definitely love the format and the process and how it's set up, because it'll give you the opportunity to be focused all the time. Be intentional. Well, I always, even when I talk to my grandkids, I tell them to be intentional with their action. Just be intentional. If you're intentional, then when you sit down and you really going to go to do something and be something, you're going to put your whole focus into that. You're going to put all your energy into that. So if you're intentional with your action, that'll keep you out of a lot of stuff, because then you have to be intentional with what the hell you doing. So you doing that and you pouring that into your family, to your loved ones. Yeah, you're intentional with your investing. You're intentional with your business. You're intentional about partnering with others. You're intentional about the relationship that you have with your children when you teach them business. Like, all those things become habit forming. We at a state right now where we're creating new habits because the old system is no longer any good. So instead of us, talking about always what's no good, one of my goals right now, which was given to me today, was to create systems for the advancement. So it's more of understanding not just a service, but an innovating, systematic way that we would thrive. That's my goal right now. So I'm just going to use the system as a core reflection, and just what can we build after that.
Hey, so I want to some people in the comments. First of all, Ayana was laughing. I don't know who she was laughing at, but hey, if y'all, those in the comments, Just write down like what is one of your goals. And then I task y'all to create a SMART goal for that goal. Ooh, I'm giving homework. Look at me.
Hey, let's go.
But no, seriously, I sorry, I found it funny. You said I'm not always, I don't know, I'm not always smart. I was like, bro, really? The smart doesn't always lie with me. But no, going back onto it, the SMART goals. I feel how you said impossible, where you said that we're going into a time where a new system is being had. And so the things, I actually was listening to a video yesterday. They were like, the reason a lot of people are doing the same things that they used to do to make money or get good results, but now they're not getting those same types of results. They're like, that's because we're shifting into a new era. And in that new era, the old things that you used to do, old things are not going to work the same way in a new
system. All things will become new.
Exactly. And I'm like, so that's something that we all have to think about as well. Like, look, we are going into a new space, a new time. And therefore, trying to be stuck in the past, you're going to mess around and cause yourself to be in a state of depression because you're not getting what it is that you're seeking. Yeah, you're not getting the results you're looking for. So it's like we have to learn how to revamp these things and really start taking these SMART goals and think of what is my end goal? And the way that things are moving, what can I do? I need to adjust myself to make sure I'm still on that path to reach where I'm trying to go. I mean, for example, take into account the brick system is dropping, I think, April 1st. That right there is going to make it to where for every $1 of bricks is going to be equivalent to 55 US. So, I mean, you going to buy a shirt that's coming from China right now, that's like $14, $15. You're going to be spending almost a couple thousand. Or correction, you're going to be spending about $1,000 for a t-shirt. Oh, my math is off. 100, sorry. But I'm just like, yo, it's ridiculous. I'm like, you really have to take into consideration those types of things.
Well, that's where the innovation and the prosperity, saying is all about. I see the questions come up. What does living prosperity look like? It looks like you being in your purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like the thing about those who are truly, truly wealthy with all the riches in the world seems to be doing what they purposely love. Ironic. So if you're doing what you purposely
love, you will never work another day in your life.
Listen, that's so true, because what I'm doing right now, the job that I have right now has nothing to do and does not interfere with the work that I do. I was, quote unquote, I was supposed to be at work tonight, but somehow the gods shifted around and boom, and I'm off. Oh, okay, that sounds great. You see? So for me, it's purpose in knowing what I really want to do and told them what my Friday nights look like. They said, oh, yeah, okay. Well, now here we go. And I'm here on this Friday night. So it's purposeful living. We forgot about purpose. We do so much to attain so much wealth. We forget about the purpose. I used to tell my daughters, and I still tell them right now, you can do anything you want in life, but why can't you know your purpose while you doing everything you're doing in life? Like, why is that a situation? Why can't you just know who you are in your purpose? Yeah, you can do all the other, but why can't you do that? So living, prospering in life.
It's the background noise.
Prospering in life. Okay.
That's the thing about prosperity and getting to that goal of being prosperous. You've got to cut out all the background noise. You have to be focused on where you are going. Everybody is not going to go with you. I love the we philosophy, but what I have learned in the past 5 years is there is no we. There's no we until you get there, and then all of a sudden, here's everybody that nobody wanted to be with you when it came to the working portion. But now that we're here, not everybody is here. And it's not that I disagree with that, but where the disconnect comes is everybody cannot go where you're going.
Check. Real.
And I had a little saying. I was like, my little saying, it's funny. I'm like, Nobody want to grow with you, but everybody want to hoe with you. They want to be there to celebrate and everything, but nobody wants to do the work to where you need to go. And I mean, I saw that a lot when I was living where I was before. And everybody want to hit you up. Oh, come to this party, or oh, da da da. They want you to spend some money and all that whoop de woo. But it's like when you sit there and talk about, hey, let's read this book and talk about it. Oh no. Or if you're like, hey, this person's coming in, I really want to go to that, and they're like, and I'm not talking about like a concert or something. You have somebody who's coming in dropping knowledge, and they're just like, oh no, I'm busy. But then it's like, okay, well, you find out they're busy with, I don't know, going to a kickback or something. It's like, all right, cool. You put in pleasure before actually growing. And that's saying a lot of people are stuck on trying to please their physical flesh rather than their actual soul. I'm like, when it comes down to it, I feel when it comes down to it, you should grow internally, which will be able to really get you to where you need to go. Because once you start figuring out who you are and what you really want in life, then you know exactly what it is you need to do to live the life that you want. And just like how you said, Mr. Sigma Uno, there really is no we. Because when it comes down to it, you're going to be the main one doing all the majority of the work. I mean, you can probably task some things out, delegate a couple things, but for the most part, you're still going to have to come through and make sure that these things get done. Because if you don't check up on it, that right there can mess up the whole goal.
Well, see, and you got to, here's the deal. I'll put it in the simplest terms possible. Everybody has a soundtrack. Everybody has their own theme song. Everybody's got their own theme music. They disc, they mixtape, whatever it is. Everybody has their own. Okay. Where people fall and falter is they become a part of the background music. Okay. Yeah, that music is playing. Yeah, it's what I'm using as motivation. I'm not going to fall into the background music because I'm using that to motivate me where I'm going. You got people around you that is in it for the music. They're in it for the soundtrack. They're turning your soundtrack. Music. They turning your soundtrack into their kickback. They want to get entertained off of what you are working hard for. All of a sudden, you're the kick it spot. You're the entertainment. But nobody wants to be a part of the work. Nobody wants to be a part of the goal. You open a business. Your business is thoroughly thriving and flourishing. Now all of a sudden, everybody wants a job. Look, I implore the fact that you like the track that I got playing in the background. However, if you can't read the sheet music, you can't play it. You could play it by ear, possibly, and get all the notes right. But that's not a risk that I'm willing to take. There's a plan for a reason. You can either, get in and do some work, or you can sit over there and listen to the background music. But at no point am I going to pull you out the background music and put you center stage. I can't do it. I can't, in my rightful mind, do all the work and say, oh, here you go. You were here sitting in the background, listening to the music, snapping in your fingers. It was off beat for a little while. No, can't do it.
That's like a DJ tribe and a select few who can't tap two left feet. But anyway, I wanted to see if I can paraphrase this into something that the younger generation would probably relate to. You remember that song by DJ Quick, "Pitching on a Party"?
And they know who DJ Quick is?
Oh,
I do, but I don't know the
song. You remember
younger. He's younger. I'm like,
that's for the younger generation. Well, shit, I'm showing my age. Damn. But I mean, like, how you doing, Mr. Sigma Uno? But DJ Quick, he has a song where he's talking about pitching on a party, and in that song, he's like, everybody wants to come and jump in on this party, but nobody wants to pay to get in. Nobody's bringing any drinks. Nobody's bringing no smoke or nothing. And he's like, nah. He's like, he wants to pretty much have a party where everybody's contributing to where everybody's enjoying it. And I mean,
right. And your generation says, I got 5 on it. That's your generation.
Yeah. And I mean, for example, I had a homeboy in the past. He would always be throwing parties and everybody would come over, eat up and drink up everything. And I'm like, you realize we just wasting money for everybody else's enjoyment, right? I'm like, because you ain't getting nothing out of it. They ain't pitching in at all. I was like, they're just using you. But of course, he didn't want to see that. So I stopped putting in money, and then I started becoming a bad person because I was not helping finance the lifestyle he wanted to live. But I'm like, when it comes down to it, in the business aspect, you have to be cautious of that as well. There's a lot of people who are going to be there for handouts. They're going to be there in the beginning, like, okay, what do you need from me? What do you need from me? Cricket, cricket, cricket. Now all of a sudden, it's like they see that things are starting to really uplift, and they want to try and come around. It's like, Mike Jones, where your ass was at? Like, so, Mr. Sigma, we are talking about right now, what does living a prospering life look like? Matter of fact, I'm gonna take it back real quick, Mr. Sigma Uno, since you got the mental health background. Let's hit this question for you. How do you avoid a victim's mentality? Look at them eyes.
You got him wiping his head. You holding his head.
Like, your man started sweating. You saw the bead of sweat? He said, oh, shit. Hold up.
Yeah.
Woo, that'll work. You're muted. You're muted.
You're on mute. Unmute.
What I realize is that the victim mentality surrounds the woe is me of an individual person. Once you find the value in yourself and the value, the life that you're creating, then that doesn't exist, because you make a decision on every move that you make and every step that you take in whatever direction you choose to take it in. So there's nobody's fault. Nobody's done anything. The hard part is this is where I split a little bit. Is the shit that kids go through that interrupts their ability, and in some cases yes, in some cases no. Interrupts their ability. It interrupts their ability to understand fully why they're here. Whether it's a situation where they're raised in a relation in a household that is alcoholism, there's alcoholism and drugs and all the rest of the stuff. Those are situations that they can't control. Not that they can't thrive in it or grow from it or get strong and move on and do something greater. It's just unfair to them. I'll just say unfair. So I've dealt with a lot of things that were unfair. But to avoid victim mentality, and like I said this a lot, you got to start looking inside of yourself. There's a voice coming outside of you because there's something within. So if you're talking with that voice and you're thinking with the brain, you're living, and you're making movement, that means that you have control over something. So everyone and everything around you has not made you the victim. You're making yourself the victim. And then the choices that we make. Sometimes we make choices that, depending on who's in our life, depending on who we choose to be with, either is a tool to keep them in a place and to put them in a place to where they're always suiting the needs of themselves, or vice versa, you're suiting their everyone wants their needs met, wants their needs filled. If their needs doesn't get filled, then it's somebody else's fault. The best way to look at this is, again, you have a choice in everything that you do. You have a choice in what you say. You have a choice to wake up and be ugly, or give yourself a minute to come to a place to where you're happy with everyone around you. It's all based on you. Otherwise, none of it exists at all. If you completely internalize and say, hey, this is who I am and this is what I expect, you can't expect anyone to give you anything if they don't know what you're asking for. Closed mouth don't get fed. If you don't speak about the situation and it continues to happen, it's because you haven't spoke about how you felt about it. It's all stems and is based on you. It's all coming from you. So this is where, again, I say, take the deep dive. It may not feel good because you may realize some things about yourself that you don't even like. At the end of the day, it's your situation and your problem to deal with, not anyone else's. Now, if someone presses you so hard to where they're turning you into something that you feel like you don't want to be around them or around yourself for that matter, then you have to make a decision whether you want to be in that person's life or not. Then you're allowing someone to change who you are. Again, you are the common denominator. You have to make those decisions. You have to make the decision to get up and walk away. You have to make the decision to do something different today because you want your life to look different in this direction you're going to start walking in. It's all based around who you are.
All right.
Otherwise, to sit back and complain about all the things that are happening in your life and what someone else is or isn't doing, nothing
Listen to
to
those violins.
say. Nothing you say or nothing you say or do, nothing that anyone says or do affects your life more than what you allow, more than what you allow, or more than what you do to your own life.
Now, the next question that we did was, how do you plan for the future and how far ahead should you plan for?
I go with, I was listening to what was that? That was the last note, the meeting before, when we were talking about how companies project out 500 years in the future. I believe that's possible. I start at 5 years. If you can see yourself in the next 5 years and what it looks like and what your plan is, how you're going to implement it, then that's a beginning. Large organizations that have been in operation for 50 to 60 years already have a bigger understanding of how your business can be successful. You starting out by yourself and you're doing something that you've never done before, I give it a good 5 years, 5-year plan. Once that 5 years begins to expire, you get to see you're able to see the picture a little bit bigger, how you can expand and what you have to cut off and you have to change. But the success for that is based on what your reality is. What you say the plan is, how long it's going to take to get there, adjusting the plan when it's time to adjust the plan, coming to the realization that something doesn't work, and then letting it go, and being true to what you said you're going to start doing in the beginning. So most organizations morph, and I've seen it in the past where nonprofits, corporations morph to get funds to operate. Well, 9 times out of 10, when you get funds, then the people that are giving funds want you to do something specifically. If that doesn't match your vision at all, period, you just sidetracked yourself. So stick true to who you are and what you're able to do, and your ability to expand out or to your ability to look further in the future about your business is based on the loyalty that you have to it, to your vision. Once you have that in place and that's unshakable, you can project 1,000 years in the future if you like, because you know your step.
Yeah.
You know what your choice is. And go ahead. I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just agreeing. I was just like, yeah, check, yeah.
I wanted to say this, especially to those that are listening to the podcast and you are of our persuasion and sometimes not of our persuasion, but primarily I'm speaking to those of our persuasion. We have built other people's dreams. We are well aware of what it takes to get to certain goals.
Okay.
We know what the back end looks like because we did it for somebody else.
Right.
Yep.
Now, what I would admonish us to do is you have done enough for everybody else. It is time now to do something for yourself. It's great that you helped everybody else build their dream. I need you to find a dream and I need you to build it. That is the only way that you will have longevity. That is the only way you are going to prosper, because you cannot prosper in somebody else's dream. You'll never be the top of somebody else's dream. If it's not your dream, then again, you're playing a co-host role. You need to host your own dream. You need to manifest your own dream. You need to make that happen. You need to turn it into a legacy for you and yours. Again, it's great to help other people with theirs, and it's great for the learning experience and all of that. But now that you know how it works, now that you've seen it work, now that you know how it manifests, especially for other people, especially since you manifested it for them, It's time to do that for yourself.
Yeah,
Preach.
I, I agree, because we participate in the manifestation of other people's dreams every day. We pay a cell phone bill every month. We go to the grocery store. We got hotels that we stay in, and got everywhere we do is somebody else's dream. So we at a job, that's somebody else's dream.
Mm-hmm.
So we participate in that every single day. It's just as the Miss Sigma Uno said, it's all about what you put in for your dream. How dedicated are you to your dream? The thing that you said is going to take you into the next 10 years. Are you dedicated the way you go to your job? And I used to
Right,
always ask people that. How you not dedicated to your dream the same way you dedicated to your job? You don't miss a day at work, but you would take a day off in your dream? What?
right, right,
Slave
right, right,
mentality.
right. And it's a clear picture to what you feel the value of your life is.
Check.
Because we base it and we base going to work on an instant gain. So if I go work these many hours and this is what I'm going to get, you don't get it right away, mind you. It's either 2 months, 2 weeks, a week, or whatever, but you're still willing to
Hmm.
wait because you feel like it's an immediate gain. So what about your life makes you feel like it's not worth it or there's no gain? You see what I'm saying? You have to come to a place to where, oh man, and working corporate, this man, it put me in a place to where I had to realize I have the ability to put this much work in for this company. I remember them saying, hey, you're responsible for 30% of the office's gross this month. Nobody can say shit to you. And I'm like, if I could do this, and if I'm responsible for this person, then that means I have a value. Then putting the value in play when it's time. And I played the game when it came to positions or changing positions or getting a raise. Hey, the last month you said I was worth I was worth this much to your company. I can do that and double. Are you gonna give me a raise or not? But it's all based on this instant gratification almost. But you're not willing to give yourself that much room to trial and error to fail because you don't feel like there's an instant gain in it, and that's the unfortunate part of the society we live in, because monetary is based on you trading your time for something.
Hmm.
I had
Hmm.
to back up and go from corporate to nonprofit to just to take a look around and be like, what the hell am I doing? Every person I work for, everything I touch turns to gold for someone else. But when it comes to me, I get this paralyzing fear about what about whether it's going to work out for me or not. The Sigmund will tell you, I can't tell you how many businesses I started and failed just to find out where I was and or where I needed to be. But I had to jump into it with both feet. Otherwise, I would have never done it. I would have never seen any value in myself in order to continue to do it or to understand that part of the economy is. And it's all knowing where you're working, knowing who you're impacting, knowing your target audience. All of that is important because someone is taking time, like someone's taking the time to watch this podcast. No one, no one guaranteed you this when you started it. You just did it because you knew, hey, I have to do something. This is my contribution. However it pans out for you, but you had to jump in it and you had to do it because you felt like it was going to be successful. That's the same thing we have to treat ourselves. And I think again for us for us as people of color, we've already proven it 20,000 times over just here in the United States. We've every system in play is the basis of who we are as a power. And it proved it with Black Wall Street. They said we don't want you using our bathrooms, we don't want you eating from it, we don't want you to do nothing. Stay the hell away from around us. They were like, bet, let's do that. So let's build our own city. We got our own this, we got our own streetcars, we got our own attorneys, and no reason for us to step out and do nothing. That is the horrible trade-off that I feel that happened when it came to assimilating. because we had an independent mindset. We had a mindset that you don't have to take care of us. We've been taking care of y'all for the last 400 plus years. You think we can't handle this? And we did that. We didn't only do it there in Oklahoma. We did it literally everywhere, to the point where they started really getting jealous and destroying what we had. But we've done it already, and there's a value in it. There is, and I think I know it can happen. I know it can continue to happen.
Mr. Sigma Uno, I want to say, like you was speaking my life there. There's been many times where I was put in leadership positions. I remember the first time I was put in a leadership position, I was like, okay. And I'm not gonna lie, I was just like, I hope I don't F this up. Please don't F this up.
Right.
And I noticed that I would always go out, and it's like I do good things for everybody else, but of course, there's always, with me being when I was in the military, whoever was above me got all the credit. So I never really got told that I was doing a good job, but everybody else above me, they got the credit. But anytime that something bad happened, it was my fault. So I always got told about how I'm effing up and I can't do nothing right, whatever, whoop-de-woo. But anytime it happened, those above me got the praise. And I was like, okay, all right, cool, whatever. But then the last situation where I was getting put into a management position, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little worried. I was just like, okay. I was like, you know what? I've been tailored for this. I know that I can do this. I was like, everywhere I go, I end up being put in those positions. And just recently, me and my wife had went down to another state to go visit family. And my mom had asked, my wife was like, no, my wife had said that they were trying to put her into a management position and she turned it down. And I was like, oh, why'd you turn it down? And my mom was like, why'd you turn it down? She was like, because she was like, I'm starting to realize everywhere I go, they're trying to put me in a management position. So that lets me know that I can do it. So why do it for somebody else when I can do it for myself? And I was like, preach, thank you.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that I feel like that ties back into what Impossible was saying earlier. If you are not following, if you're not putting as much time into your dreams and your goals as you put into work, can you really say that you have dreams and goals? And I mean, when it comes down to it, we know, if you know who you are, you know what you're capable of. And if you're not doing the things that you know you are capable of, it's honestly, you're wasting your time. There was a quote, I think it said, if you go and have a conversation, or if you put time into something that does not better you, you wasted your time. I feel like there's a lot of people these days who are wasting their time because they're not doing anything that's benefiting them at all. They're going to work and wasting trading time for money that's not even worth their actual worth. I'm like, when it comes down to it, have your time reflect what your worth is. So when you have people who will sit there and complain the fact that you got a business and you're charging $20 for a t-shirt or a hoodie, and they're like, oh, let me get the homie discount. I'm sorry, but when you go to Walmart, you're not asking them for a homie. You're not asking them. When you're going to buy these Gucci bags, you're not asking for a $1,000 discount. Standing in line for 24 hours trying to get the newest J's asking for a discount. So because you know me, you think I'm supposed to give you a discount? I'm sorry, I know my worth. And if you knew my worth, you would pay that amount as well. That right there shows me that exactly what you think my worth is. I know better.
And just to piggyback on that, I went through that in the jewelry game when I started my jewelry business. And people would come in like, man, what kind of discount you give? And I say, go ask Walmart for the same discount. Whatever you want from me, go back to Walmart and ask for their discount. If they give you the discount, come back to me. I give you the same discount they give you.
Hey, bro, my favorite thing to say if that happened to me, I'll be like, hey, I'll price match.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, look, hey, you tell me, go and tell me what kind of discount they gonna give you, and they go from there. But we have to understand too, every purpose is personal. Everybody don't. Some people know their purpose and don't want to fulfill it. It's like you got a soul contract, and you said when you came here you was going to do this. Now you here, and you done got sensationalized or desensitized. Now you don't want to do your purpose. What that mean? You came here to this planet. You came here to this plane. You said you wanted to come here. Ain't nobody call your ass.
Well, some have, we're not going to call it an inferiority complex, but especially those of our persuasion need to realize We raised their families. We fed their children. We put food on their table.
Mhm.
We work in their businesses. We put them in space. They couldn't do none of
Come
that
on.
stuff themselves.
We wouldn't hear
They needed us
figures.
to do
Preach.
it.
Get
Okay,
that
so
math. Get that math going. Get that math popping. Go ahead.
Exactly. Right.
they still don't believe in seasonings, but they'll get there maybe one day.
Oh
Salt,
my
pepper is
God.
not the
No,
only,
no, no, they
but
won't.
Shots fired.
look,
That'll
Shots
never,
fired.
never be.
Hold on. Hey, I
Never
got one
be.
for you. I got one for you. They don't believe in washing the meat either.
Mhm.
they don't believe in washcloths either, apparently. But
Don't give me.
Yeah.
Listen. Don't y'all.
look,
Don't. We come
All right,
back.
all right,
Come
all right.
back.
We about to
Come
get
back.
canceled.
playing nicely with other
We about to get
children.
canceled.
Yeah.
Back
Come back.
on track.
With other children. At some point, I'm not going to say we as a people, but as an individual that's listening to this podcast, you are guessing on whether or not you can or you should or you can or have the ability to. The reality is it's in you. There, like I said, 400 years did this for them. The next 200 years did this for them. We put them where they wanted to be. Why can't you put you where you want to be?
Check.
And everybody knows their role. Everybody knows what they're great at. Everybody knows what they're good at doing. Stay where you're supposed to be. Stay exactly in the lane that you're supposed to be in. I remember meeting this gentleman. I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he was creating these containers and purifying water or collecting water from the atmosphere. And he took, I think he took one to Detroit. He had some in multiple different places, but he took one to Detroit because of what was going on with the water there. Sabotaged, completely sabotaged stuff. And he knew why. He understood why, but that didn't stop him from what he's doing. He's still doing the same thing. He knows his contribution. And if when we get to the place to where we're building cities again and we're supporting each other and economically strongly supporting each other, then I mean, but it's already been done. The proof is already there. We don't have to ask questions why or whether we can or not. We just have to do it.
And there's a difference this time. There's a difference now than it was when they did it a couple hundred years ago.
Yeah.
There's a big difference. Back then, we were the minority.
Mhm.
We're no longer the minority.
We never been a minority.
Nope. Never.
That we never been a minority.
That was never
We are the original indigenous people of this planet, this plane. We have never been a minority.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start rolling in.
Minority mindset. I'm gonna start rolling into the closing comments. I'm gonna give each one of y'all some closing comments. Then we're gonna go into our gratitude and what you learned. All right. We're gonna start with Mrs. Sigma Uno when she's done gulping.
Oh wow! Again, to close this out, find a dream. If you are not unsure, you can not. You know what you do best. Like Mr. Sigmuna said, you know what you do best. Find your niche and run with it. It's yours. You own it. Make it your legacy.
Mr. Sigma Uno.
I echo Mr. Sigma Uno. It's not as hard as you believe it is. It isn't. It's not. And the only division here, the only fight that you're having with yourself is what you call instant gratification, and truly believing that you are the value based on the things that you're able and capable of doing and building. So you can do it.
Mr. Impossible.
Let your dreams be passion for your purpose. Let your dreams be passion for your purpose. Whatever you're doing, just allow your dreams to be passion for your purpose. Let your intention be purposeful. Let them be in your actions. Let them be righteous. Let it be fair. Be loving. Be empowered all the time, and know that the same power dwells within you. I say there's a dwelling to be revealed, and to be revealed a dwelling. You just passion in your dream, purpose, passion in your dreams. That's my closing argument. Passion in your damn dreams. You ain't got no passion in your dream. What you doing? Why you
Gratitude and
not passionate?
learns.
Shit. Well, since the camera on me, let's keep it on me and say gratitude. I'm gonna go back to Miss Sigma Una said something earlier, and it hit me as far as understanding how to teach our youth and to give them options when they get time for them to do what they do. And that's my, when she said that, it humbled me to understand what I'm planning 5 and 10 years for my grandkids is everything for me. To know that, okay, this is right, and shout out to the Love Divine Minds. It's always good to sharpen with each other. It's always a gratitude.
Miss-
Gratitude and what I've learned. Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Gratitude and what I've learned. I am eternally grateful for my better half. That's on here, Miss Signano. Eternally grateful for her, for who she is. Grateful for this podcast, and I've learned that where like-minded people are, the opportunities get more. Goodness, the threshold for opportunities increase.
I am also grateful for the platform and to be able to share time with like-minded individuals, and even if not like-minded, to view other perspectives of situations and life as a whole. Um, I wouldn't necessarily say I learned, but I definitely resonated with the realization that as individuals, we are way more than we give ourselves credit for. And it's about time that
Hmm.
we start cashing in on credit
Hmm.
because we've got it.
Yeah.
With that, I'll end with my gratitude and what I learned. I'll start with my what I learned. What I learned is the fact that not only me, but a lot of us do not give credit to ourselves. We could be doing a lot of things, but we get stuck in a mindset that keeps holding us lower than where we really are. It's like our
Mm.
body knows we're supposed to be doing much greater, but it's almost like the fear or the mentality within us is keeping us stagnant and complacent on the things that we need to do. So we're not moving forward and doing the things that we know we can do because of the fact that we feel that we're fearful of failure. We are worried that we're not going to have support, or we think that we think that what we want our end goal to be is something that is not attainable. So we give up before we even try.
Yeah.
And with that, I gotta say I am grateful for the words that were said today because ultimately that was a necessary push that I needed to get back on track to do the things that I originally had planned for myself. Because I had for too long got stuck in a cycle of insanity, trying to get myself back on track after things did not go the way that I wanted them to go. So I thank y'all
Mm.
for putting that fire back under my akole, my backside, my ass, and
Gotcha.
really having me. All y'all have given me knowledge, references as well. Which, by the way, I got that Jason Miller book, and I feel that I'm back on the right path to protect myself, grow, and literally fire like an arrow that's being shot at an enemy. And with that, I will say this will be the conclusion. Relax your minds, divine time. I hope everybody who listened got something from it. Thank you.
Right.
Hey, that was another episode of Divine Time with Don Lee. I appreciate you stopping by. Hey, if you enjoyed what you heard, please hit me with a like, follow. All I do is ask to share. If you have a story that you want to share, you have a voice that you feel can impact others or possibly even shine light to their day, go ahead and hit me up on my email. It's donley@divinetime.blog. I say again, that's donley@divinetime.blog. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for listening.